So you can't just say he doesn't exist because you've never made the effort.
What have you tried to find evidence of God, if you don't mind me asking?
I never have. Never.
I completely get that. You have to go looking for something to find it. You're not going to stumble across it.
If you want a master's, you want a PhD, you have to go through a very grueling process, but you do that knowing that the end goal is very great.
I'm almost jealous of people who have it in them to believe, and I think it can be a beautiful thing.
So you don't believe God exists?
No.
Okay, and what's the fundamental reason for that, do you reckon?
Not enough evidence to suggest there is, I guess.
Have you ever tried to seek God?
No.
Never?
No.
Would you agree with this if I was to tell you that anything that is worth having in life requires a lot of effort? So you studied philosophy. To study philosophy, you need a lot of effort, a lot of reading, a lot of thinking. If you want a master's, you want a PhD, you have to go through a very grueling process, but you do that knowing that the end goal is very great, and that's why you go through that. Right or wrong, would you say?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Everything takes work.
Yeah, everything takes work. And then to find God, a lot of people, when they say they don't believe in a God, they say that, we might have called out to him once and we can't find him. I would say no. I mean, God is the king of all kings. If you really, really deep down inside you want to find God, it requires a lot of effort, as with everything else.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the God is saying the way to find him is to call out unto him, right? Call to him and make that effort. Have you ever made that effort to...
No.
You've never made an effort to find God, right?
No.
So
I
then,
wasn't into the religious because of many reasons.
yeah. So do you understand then, if you've never made an effort,
Yeah.
how then from your point of view, saying that there's no God, there's a lack of effort from your behalf?
Interesting now. The conversation now goes really interesting, but let me think about it. But
I never really found. I never found any evidence of anything, or. Yeah.
Well, what have you tried to find evidence of God, if you don't mind me asking?
I never have. Never have. Never attempted to.
Would you say that there is enough evidence for a God, to believe in a God?
I can't speak on all the evidence because I don't know, but for me, I don't think it's a thing that can be proved by evidence. I think it's a thing you have to take a leap of faith for.
Yeah, nice. No, that's a good answer, because what I would say, I'm a Muslim, so of course I believe in a God, one God, and the Quran tells us, God tells us in fact, that he is near, as in if we seek out God, then he will show himself. So if you actually try and find God, then he will most definitely reveal himself. So anyone who hasn't actually tried to seek out God, in reality they haven't actually tried to find him, therefore they cannot say that God doesn't exist. So what are your thoughts about this?
I believe that a lot. When I was at school, I studied philosophy, and there's a philosopher called Kierkegaard who I loved, and he says the same thing. He's like, it has to be a thing that it's scary, and it has to be scary, and if it's not scary, you're doing it wrong. And yeah, that's what I think there's a lot of truth in that. I mean, in some ways, I think there's always an argument you can say like, oh well, then if you don't believe it, you can always say, well, you haven't tried hard enough, and there's no end to hard enough,
From our point of view, God is the king of all the worlds, right? He's the ultimate being, and to try get to him, right? It's a two-way street. So it's like friends. You need to go out, reach out, make that effort, and then in return, God is saying that I will show you myself as well. You
said it very confidently that no, God doesn't exist because it lacks evidence. But what I would say is that how can you say it so confidently when you've never actually tried to seek God?
I wouldn't say that God doesn't exist, but I just don't care. I just don't care. Yeah.
Because at the start you did say that God doesn't exist. So would you change that maybe? Or?
Sure. Yeah. Change it. Yeah.
So God can exist.
Maybe.
If someone tries hard enough, they can find God.
Maybe, yeah.
It's very easy to say there isn't a God when you haven't actually genuinely tried to find him.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. But,
I think that's fair, right?
Yeah, I mean, that makes complete sense. I completely get that, you have to go looking for something to find it. You're not going to stumble across it. But at the same time...
So that's why I'm saying it's easy for atheists to say there's no God, but have they even put in the effort that God is saying himself to carry out?
Yeah, but do they want to put in the effort?
That's fine.
Yeah,
That's fine.
so
You don't have to.
Yeah, a lot of people are just, like I say, it's not a priority, not on my radar.
That's
I don't feel like I'm missing anything,
That's completely fine. But then to go on and say that, there's no proof at all.
No, I didn't say there was no proof. I said I'm not convinced that there's more proof of a God than there isn't. Like there is some, well, like what people can class as evidence, but I don't think there's more evidence for than against.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
So what I'm saying is the greatest evidence. I understand like the creation and look at how complex the universe is. I'm not even going down that route. I'm saying the stronger evidence that the Quran says from which humans can find out that there is a God, is to experience God on a personal level, right? Not through some logical argument.
That's
but
very hard for another person to accept and accept. It's a very personal thing.
I completely agree with that. But do you get what I'm saying from my point of view? That you can't just say that when you haven't put in effort yourself.
Yeah, but I also can't, like I say, it's a very personal thing. I can't take anyone's word for it, sort of thing.
I agree with that.
So I'm always going to be skeptical of that.
You can be skeptical, but I'm saying from the point of view of
I get that, and I just I have to go looking. If I want to find it, I have to go looking.
Exactly. That's the point. If you want to find something, you have to go looking.
Yeah, if you want to find it. Yeah. I'm not sure that many people want to find it. I'm not sure I want to find it.
That's fine. I'm not even saying that you have to, right? All I'm saying is, it's very easy to say there's no God when you actually haven't even put in effort.
Yeah, it's the same with everything. Like, you're not going to just stumble across the dream job of your choice. You have to apply to loads of jobs. You have to look through the market. You have to network. Like, you have to put in the time and effort if you want something. So then it's a case of priorities and
whether you want to find them or not, that's a completely separate issue.
I agree. You have to look in order to find.
Have you ever tried to seek God? Have you ever actively tried to seek God?
I spent a lot of time thinking that it would be maybe more comforting if I were able to believe in it. I'm not necessarily against being convinced. Like, I don't have a wall up in that way. I'm not adamantly scientifically minded in that sense. Because like I said, I think if you grow up not believing in God, then maybe once you get to a certain age, it kind of leaves a big hole. And like, what do you fill it with if not God? But I mean, that's what life's about, isn't it?
Is that from your personal experience? Have you felt that in your own life?
I don't know. I'm not actively waking up in the morning and thinking like, okay, well, I don't believe in God. How am I going to go today and search out a meaning that replaces God?
No, of course, but you must think about it or have thought about it at different points.
Yeah, definitely. I'm almost jealous of people who have it in them to believe, and I think it can be a beautiful thing on like a personal level. But I think the overarching system of religion is probably not a good thing on the whole. But then I've read a little bit about the early 20th century and people like abandoning God, and then it seems to me that there's a lot of space there for things to devolve pretty quick if God isn't there to kind of be the belief system that brings people together. And I think if people didn't kill themselves over religion, we'd probably just find something else to kill each other over as well. So,
like politics, geopolitical issues, like we see
today. Yeah.
How to make an effort?
Yes, so this is what it is. So Islamically, you would just look, if you're a point of view from atheism, right? You would say, go look, if you're there, show me something. Show me a sign, show me something. But it's a continuous effort, and it's an effort without any prejudice or preconceived ideas. It's just literally calling out to Allah, to God, right? Because Allah and God is the same in Arabic and in English. However, from the Islamic paradigm, you have to create a change within yourself of being truly someone who wants to find the pathway to God. But for someone to say God doesn't exist and they've never put any effort in, and God is saying you have to put effort towards me and call out to me, and I will show you some signs, right? And then when you see those signs, you move further and further. So that's the way Islamically you would do it from a point of atheism.
God, of course, we believe the ultimate creator. He is the king of all kings. And therefore, to attain him isn't something which is easy, because we believe he is the greatest reward. He's a treasure, right? So we believe that if you truly want to find him, which he tells us in the Quran, he says that if we truly try and seek God, we will find him, and he reveals himself to us. So if an atheist, or if someone who doesn't believe in God, if they were to say that they have never tried to seek God, and then on the other hand they also say that God doesn't exist, there's no evidence, we believe that's a bit of a contradiction, because if they never actually tried to seek God, then they can't really say that he doesn't exist. Is that a fair point?
That's a fair point. I don't doubt that there are people who have like transcendent experiences and spiritual experiences. Whether or not that's God, I suppose, is kind of, if somebody has an experience like that and chooses to attach it to God's presence, like, fair enough. I'm not going to tell them any different. But yeah, it's something I want to pursue at some point. Just not go around to it yet. You know.
If someone really close to me genuinely was like really convinced and really passionate, and I would be more open to kind of like hearing them out, sort of thing. But yeah, it goes back to what I said at the beginning. You know, I'm 27 years old now.
Yeah.
I've kind of have the more presence of mind, and it's just not. Yeah, it's not. I'm just not convinced by it.